Hey folks, Uncle Bill here again with some more DIY tips and techniques. I'll probably start this video a little bit late in this project, but that's okay. Let me show you what I've done. In my quest to always find more storage space, this is a standard bifold door closet, and this is one end of it. And what I decided to do is to build a closet within a closet. And all I did, I'm just going to point out how I did this. I just made my top frame here. I of course decided where I wanted to go, and if you look at my level, you will see I am dead on the mark. And then down here at the bottom, I just simply cut into the existing base trim and put those two pieces there. I've got a piece back here that's on the wall. And on this side, I kind of did the same thing. There's no piece behind there. And I'll give you some techniques here in just a second. But as we go down to the bottom, that's just kind of resting on the floor. Now, going back up, this piece right here is nailed into that 2x4. And it's also nailed into the back side of this trim piece, which goes around the door. Now, I didn't have anything on this side. And I know I've got some drain lines and water pipes back here, and I really don't want to take a chance on puncturing anything. So I simply glued this piece onto the wall and let it sit overnight. And of course it goes up under the top there. And then the outside piece, I screwed it to that and I glued it here. So that thing it doesn't even budge. What I've since done is just bought some birch 1/4-inch plywood. As you can see, I mean, it's a nice finish, and I did sand it down. I didn't have all my tools with me, so I had to use a circular saw to make my cuts. But when it's all said and done, it will be beautiful. Trust me, you'll see the end product. But just wanted you to kind of see where I am with this. My next step is to come under the top here and put some sheetrock across here. Now, unfortunately, this space is so tight, I don't have any way to show me doing that, so I'm just going to do it, and then I'll show you the end result, how I did it or whatever's necessary. Back at you in a little bit. Okay, we've got our sheetrock sealing in now, and I'm going to go ahead and mud the edges of that, and we'll pick up from there. And now we've got our first coat of mud on. The corner's going to take a little more work. Probably take 2 more floats to get everything right. And up here in the front, I'm going to add some kind of little piece of trim here. But it's coming along. Stay tuned for more. Okay, the next step is done. What I did is you can see how smooth these two pieces are. That's the extra trim I nailed on top of the 2x4. And I didn't have my nail gun with me, so I kind of had to do it the old-fashioned way with a hammer and a nail punch. But I want you to notice these, where the nail holes were. I never use caulk to fill nail holes, because what happens is the caulk will shrink, and then you'll have a permanent indentation there. But what I use instead, I love this stuff, and you can get it at Home Depot, is this Drydex pink spackling, and I use a 5mm nitrile glove, and I just get a little bit on my finger and just kind of wipe it on and just let it dry. It'll turn white when it's dry, and then you just sand it down very gently with a fine sandpaper, and you get a finish that is as smooth as a baby's butt. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this is where we are. Got everything smoothed out all the way down, and tomorrow I'm going to share with you a secret process that I developed. And we're going to take care of these little cracks in here, and you'll never see them again. So see you tomorrow. Take care. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and put our top on. We'll see if I can do this with one hand. I went ahead and cut the piece of wood. Had to cut out that little notch for that corner right there. But let me see if I can get this up there with one hand. I'm using a 3/4-inch birch, so it's a little bit on the heavy side. Oh, I like it when a plan comes together. Okay, nice clean corner. We'll caulk all the way around there. And we'll caulk around there in the front. We've got a couple of things to do here. I may put a piece of facing here, or I may do my little secret that I was going to share with you and do that. We'll see how it all turns out. I'm probably going to do the latter. So I'm going to screw this down. We still have one more piece to get up in. I don't know if you can see that up against here. So I'll do that piece next. So we got one more piece to do, one more piece of trim to cut up in here. And then we'll come back and we'll take care of all this stuff and make it look pretty. And anyway, let me go get some screws. I'm going to screw this down up here first, and then we'll continue. Okay, I got the piece cut for that little trim right there. That's a nice little fit. We'll just have to sand it down a little bit there to make it smooth. And I really don't like the sheetrock to wood transition, but because I was limited on space, again, we're going to use my little secret process to make that look really nice. But there we go. We got the top one up there. We got the bottom piece of trim right there. Everything else looks nice. So I've got to do a little screwing of the top in this piece here, and then we will start on my little process I have been promising to share with you. One more thing before I forget. See that wire shelf? We had one that ran across here and went all the way to that wall. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come back and fasten this to the facing there and run the shelf from here to my right back across the closet. So that's a little bit of a caveat in this whole job, but we'll make it work out. Okay, we're ready to put the finishing touches on this closet within a closet. I did go ahead and I sanded this down a little more and got that really smooth there. I've got a little piece of trim I'm going to put across here to cover that seam up, and then I'll caulk up underneath it. This one is going to get covered by the door, so I'm not too worried about that. But I think what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and I still got to sand the sheetrock up under there on the ceiling. So I'm going to sand the sheetrock, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to go ahead and prime everything. And then that'll leave me all set up tomorrow to go ahead and paint. And actually this afternoon I will be back online to show you my little mixture here, my little fix here, what I'm going to do. So stay tuned, see you in a little bit. And there we have everything primed, and we'll come back in a couple hours and we'll start caulking, and I'll show you my magic sauce, if you will. Okay, I went back, I let this dry a little bit. Still needs to dry probably another hour and a half, but there's a little bubble there and I don't know what that's from. I'm going to wait and see if that settles down. But I did get my trim piece cut for up here, and that's going to go eventually right there to give us a nice kind of a little more professional edge. And again, all this in here will be filled in shortly. Let me go get what I need and we'll mix up some magic sauce. Okay, it's time to caulk. I'm going to go ahead and share with y'all something someone taught me years ago. I'm not going to say how many years ago, but the best way to caulk. I'm just going to set the camera here for just one sec. Well, I'll go ahead and see if I can do this with one hand here. And it's not the putting the caulk out. We're just going to run a bead of caulk down here. And once you use this method, I promise you, you will never go back to the way you were caulking before. Just make sure that should be enough to get us going for the video anyway. So the secret here is simply a wet rag. And what you want to do is make sure you get your finger nice and wet. Find a place to put this. And we're just going to run it right down the bead of caulk just like that. Get any excess off. So you're going to keep running it down like that. See how nice that is? And it pushes it into the crack also. Now you can see what a good caulk line I have. Now don't worry about overlapping either the wall or the trim, because what I'm going to do is come back and touch up the wall first. And I don't really care if I get any wall paint on the trim, because the trim is going to be the icing on the cake. And one more side note, I just filled in some holes from the previous wire shelf that was here, And I probably should do a video on that because that's a whole separate technique, and it'll save you a lot of time and ultimately a lot of money on your jobs if you can make these holes happen a lot quicker and you don't have to wait overnight for things to dry. But that'll be another video. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, now it's time for my secret sauce that you've been hearing about. You know, I'm rethinking my plan. I've always done it the same way, and this is the left side. I'm going to scroll across here so you can see the right side. Kind of the same thing on both sides. We want to fill those in, and also going down the interior of the door area. So normally I would just do my mixture and put it on there. I'm not going to tell you what I would normally do yet, but I think I'm going to change things up this time, and I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of caulk in these cracks, knowing that the caulk is going to shrink as it dries, which is perfect for what I need. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will show you the finished product here in just a minute. Okay folks, it's time for the magic sauce that I promised you. So here's the first ingredient, some good old sheetrock mud, joint compound, drywall mud, whatever you want to call it. And the other ingredient is the DAP pink plastic wood. And we're going to mix those two together, probably 50-50, maybe 60 sheetrock mud and 40 plastic wood. And we're going to stir it up, and then I'll show you what you do with it. Okay, so here we go. I hope I've got the camera aimed correctly. We're going to go ahead and we're going to just scoop out some sheetrock mud here. Don't need a whole lot because you don't want to waste anything. So we're going to put, that might be enough right there. And then I've got my stir stick somewhere around here. Let me see if I can find my stir stick. There it is. I clean off my scrape blade here. Get that in the bucket. Now we're going to open up the pink wood, nice and fresh container. We're going to scoop some of that out. Now, stuff by itself is kind of hard to work with. That's why I add the sheetrock mud. And we'll get that in there. Just got to be careful not to get too much on the sheetrock side because you want it to harden like wood. Let's see, let's do one. I really hate to use this much, but we're going to do it. We're going to see how that turns out. And we'll close this back up so it stays fresh for us. Okay, we're back at our little closet project here. I've got my pink mud, or pink, wood filler, plastic wood filler from DAP. I've got some sheetrock mud, and we're just going to mix this all up as best we can. And you can see how difficult it is to work with because that pink mud, or the pink, wood filler, I'll get it eventually. It's really thick, but you want to get a good mix here. Otherwise, you're not going to get a good finish. So we're going to stir this up. Probably should have used a thicker stick for stirring. There we go, we're getting a good mix there. It's a good workout too. I guess what they call this, isometric exercise. Get the heart rate up a little bit. Get some exercise on the wrist. Okay, one more stir and I think we'll be good to go. And you can probably forget salvaging the cup after doing this. Just gonna have to chunk it, so be sure you use a cup you're not wanting to keep. Okay, what I'm gonna do here, let's start right over here. I'm gonna put some on the spot, and this does get messy. I'm just gonna put some right up there like that. Do some there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. What the heck? This is just a good old trusty paint stir stick here, just to get stuff on there. Okay, that'll do for a minute. And then I'm gonna grab, sorry about that, a little headache for y'all. Just two little trowels. You're gonna work it just like you would work drywall mud. You can see it's filling in those cracks nicely there. You have to come back and re-caulk that edge, but that's okay. And be sure and get it off anything you don't want it on. And it will sand off, but it's just less work. You can see how it's filling in those cracks. bring some over here, work it over here. After you do this a few times, it kind of becomes second nature. And I don't like using my mud pan because I don't want to have to donate a mud pan to the mud gods. Let me get that off over there. Oh, that'll caulk out. All right, so we'll do that. I'll come across here. And don't worry about filling in above there because, again, you want it even. That'll all sand out. Just like that. Now all I need is 8 more hands to work with and I'll be good to go. And let's use our stick. Let's get a little more over here. Do a little more there. And we'll do some up here. What the heck? Let's do the whole thing. Even though some of us are going to get covered up with the door. Okay, we're going to take some of that. There's a little much there. Boo, 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 boo. And sometimes you got to sing and hum to yourself. Whatever works. Okay, that ought to be good for now. All right, now let's go ahead and just need to get that off there. Okay, let's do this corner. I'm going to steal a little bit there. I'm going to put it in that corner. Now we're just going to come across. Ah, I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm going to leave the extra on the top there. That's not hurt anything. We'll mash this in a little bit to fill that crease. There we go. You might even want to leave a little bit extra on spaces like that, so when you sand them down, you get a good cover on that crease. But let's see. Again, I'm not worried about things in there because that's going to sand out. Let me do that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come down the sides here in a few places and do the same thing. You don't need to see me do the whole thing, but I'll come back when it's all said and done and give you a quick little overview. And here we have it. You can see I did it all the way down this side, and I don't know if you can see this side. Went all the way down that side, and I went back and did a little more in here just to make sure those come out the way I want them to come out. So anyway, we're going to let that dry for a little while, and then we'll come back and sand it. Okay, here we are back the next morning. Looks like everything dried nicely. I'm going to get my palm sander and I'm going to sand all that down. I don't have enough hands to hold the camera too, so I'll be back in just a little bit. We've got everything sanded, and I don't know if you can tell, a little bit of a joint there. If I had more time, I'd do another coat. But you see the joint there's gone. You come across here, that joint's gone. If you look inside, those joints are gone. That secret sauce, I call it, really is a time saver. Again, mixing probably 50-50 the DAP pink plastic wood mix and some drywall mud. Just have to be sure to mix it real well, and that's your end result. So I'm going to go ahead and tape all this up, and we're going to start painting here pretty soon, and then this project will be done for now. And we're making some headway. I got the first coat of trim paint on. Again, you can tell, or actually you can't tell where those seams were before my magic sauce. But anyway, the inside's painted, the ceiling's painted, the sides are painted. I'm going to do one more coat on the trim, and then this project will be a wrap. And here's the finished look after all is said and done. All painted, 2 coats. I ended up doing a second coat. It's always good to do 2 coats of trim paint on top of primer. But anyway, that's where we stand right now. I've got one more thing to do, so stay tuned. Okay, the painting is done, touch-up is done, the shelf is attached, and we have a finished product. The only thing I have left to do, say finished, I'm going to put a door, a shaker style door right there, so I'll add that to the end of the video. But other than that, we're done. You can kind of take a look at the quality, the shine, lack of seams. It's beautiful. Okay. I will get the door made and I'll be back with you. Thanks. Okay, we're back at our closet here, and there's the Elfa shelving installed. I went ahead and did that. I thought about doing a video on that, but there's so many videos on the internet about installing the stuff. I didn't feel a need to add another, but basically you just install that top track up there. Then you have these vertical pieces called standards, and they hang down, and you just put the shelf brackets in, clip the shelves in, and you are good to go. So looking good. The only thing left to do is to put the, I'm going to put a shaker door in the front, hopefully tomorrow, and then reattach the wire shelving right at that bracket right there. So till tomorrow, take care. Okay, here we have my first ever shaker door. Not bad for a first attempt. I've got to get some credits here at the end of my video for where I found the video on how to do it. It's actually very simple. But here's my new shaker door, and I've got a little lock I put on there, and we'll just go ahead and get that, and you can kind of see it's just stuff that's getting stored in there, but stuff that's out of the way, and it's a closet inside of a closet, and that is how it's done. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and everyone take care, be safe, till next time, bye.